and the beloved and we are on. Greetings. We are here with a very special guest, and the first guest with this, I don't even know what we're going to call this. I have no title. We're just going to roll with it, but very glad to have her here tonight. Powerhouse vocalist, songwriter, and guitarist with over a decade of seasoned performances throughout the United States and Europe. From the NPR article, growing up in a small town in the Poconos, singer-songwriter Mysti Mayhem knew her big dreams needed to find a big stage. She moved to Florida, where she fell under the unlikely tutelage of the legendary Bo Diddley, whom she credits with bringing out the funk in her guitar and the soul in her voice, which, if you haven't heard her, for sure that's the case. After a record deal and a European tour, she found herself depressed, and with just enough money left for one more move, she put on a blindfold, threw a dart at a map, and moved to where it hit. Durham in North Carolina, ... Bull City. Mysti Mayhem, welcome to the show, which I still don't have a title for yet. Maybe we'll figure this out as we go, but it's great to have you here.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I hope to help inspire some sort of a title for your new show. Absolutely. I'm like the first person.
Absolutely. So we're going to get right into it here. Let me just make sure I've got everything rolling.
Rolling.
We're rolling. Pro Tools is on, and we're going for it. So where did this name come from? Because I've seen this before, the Mayhem. I know that's not the last name, right? Are we going to call it a stage name?
So I earned the stage name Mysti Mayhem in my 20s. My real name is Mysti. My last name's just too complicated, so we're not going to do it. Maybe that's the name of your show. My last name's too complicated, so we're not going to do it. Podcast. And yeah, as a very lost, rambunctious 20-year-old, well, I guess I actually went out on the world more like 18-ish. I traveled to Florida from Pennsylvania, and my behavior earned me the name Mayhem. And so Mysti Mayhem became the term, which is quite ironic now that I'm no longer Mayhem in that negative sense, more of like Holy Spirit, you know? So maybe God might give me a name change with the stage name, but that's how I've earned the name.
It may be your place, though, in the kingdom to be the mayhem of heaven. I don't know.
If you think everything's going to be normal tonight and I'm not bringing the Holy Spirit, well, here comes some mayhem.
Right. Exactly. Well, hey, listen, he apparently has no problem with that when you read Old and New Testament stories. So, right. Let's get to the Bo Diddley thing for a second, because so you worked with him in person? Yeah.
So, how honest can I be on your show?
Yeah, honest. I mean, if there's anything crazy,
we can edit.
We'll edit. We'll try not to edit. I want to try and keep this as unaltered as possible.
Okay.
But
so, when I was 18, I hightailed it to Florida, graduated, got out of Pennsylvania, moved to Gainesville. I'd been living there for about 6 months. And, you know, I'm busking and I'm trying to figure out life and I'm trying to meet new people and just get out there. And I rented what I'm calling a hippie house, because it was a small house and I think 30 of us lived there, 30 college kids and hippies. And everybody's paying like $25 in rent, you know, so it was a sweet setup. But I was outside and there was this old man, and he drove up. He was in a pickup truck, and there was a car for sale in my front yard that obviously belonged to one of my many roommates. And the old man says, "Hey, little lady, do you know about this car for sale in the front yard?" I said, "Oh, no, hang on. Let me go inside. Let me see if I can find someone." And I go in the house, and nobody's home except for my bandmate. And he goes, "Yeah, I know nothing about that car, but do you know who that is outside?" I said, "Yeah, it's some this old black guy in a pickup truck wants to know about the car for sale. He goes, forget the car. Give him your CD. Tell him to listen to that track you wrote. I wrote a song at that time called Time for a Change. And it went like bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, bum. Right? So I kind of wrote it off that song based, what was it? I want candy. Right? So it had that chunky bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Anyway. So I'm like, you want me to give this 70-something-year-old black man my CD? I'm like, okay. I was afraid of nothing back then. So
right.
I said, sir, I don't know about the car for sale, but if you give me your phone number, I'll give you my phone number, and we'll figure it out. In the meantime, listen to my song. It's number 4. It's called Time for a Change, and maybe you'll like it. Okay, so like 18, 19-year-old
starry-eyed.
Just doesn't. Well, I don't know who he is, so I'm just like,
yeah.
The whole world. I'm starry-eyed for the world.
Well,
right?
that was the context.
Everybody is somebody to me, right? Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So he was nice, and he's like, thanks.
Nah.
And he drove away. And then about 5 minutes later, he comes back. He made a circle around the block, and he's playing my song, and loudly in the car, you can hear it. It's coming on. Bum, 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 bum. He lowers. He's like 70 something, right? So he lowers. He goes, little lady, coming over to my house tonight, 8 p.m. Bring me triple Smirnoff beer, black, and vanilla ice cream, sugar free. Bring a guitar. 8 p.m. We're gonna jam.
I love it.
I live over there, and he just drives away.
I love it.
But he didn't give me any money for these things.
Right.
So I'm like scrambling for change, and my friends are like, what do you need money for? I'm like, I don't know. I got to buy this neighbor like triple Smirnoff beer black and vanilla ice cream sugar free. And I get all this stuff, and I walk to his house, and there's square guitars all over the wall. And I go in, and I can hear him playing my song in the studio. And as I get in, I see a reel to reel,
Bo Diddley had a studio in his house.
Of course.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And so we go in, and it was more of like old equipment studio. Like this is not a studio per
The good
se.
stuff.
Yes.
The good stuff.
He used a reel to reel because he loved the smell of it.
Oh, I love it.
Had a sound and a smell.
Love it.
And I grew to love that sound and smell too. And so, I'm like, hi, I brought your stuff. And he like slams the stop button, pause button. He goes, little lady. Can I swear? Because he swore. Or should I use?
Yeah.
Okay. He goes, little lady, this is my shit. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you like it. Because I totally wrote it off that song. I want candy. Da, 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 da. And he has like this look in his eyes of like pain and sorrow and frustration. He says, no. I mean, literally, this is my shit. You are ripping me off. This is my beat, girl, and you ain't even playing it right. So sit your ass down because you don't know Diddley. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, hi, Mr. Diddley. My name's Misty. Never heard of Bo Diddley. So as far as I knew, he was just my neighbor with square guitars.
When did you have the realization that this was freaking Bo Diddley?
I had my friends constantly telling me that, but
Okay.
I had
But you just didn't put 2 and 2 together until...
I refused to look him up. I refused. I was like, well, if he is a big guy and he was a big person, I get starstruck really easily.
Right.
And I only want to know him as how I know him. He's my neighbor. He thinks I'm stealing his stuff.
Wow.
I like that vibe. And
which is already kind of bad enough, like to start out with.
Right. Like, let me not ask you for an autograph next. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
And so what wound up happening is he kept training me. I was really lucky. I grew up in a school system that had mandatory music from first grade to high school graduation. Wasn't a choice.
Right.
You couldn't opt out for this. So I had classical training. I was in plays and operas and all that fun stuff. Thank you, school, public school.
Hey.
And when I graduated and I met Bo, I'm singing for him because this is my dream. This is what I want. And he recognizes, he's like, well, you know what? You come over a few hours every week and I'll train you.
Wow.
Like, okay. So he starts recording me. And now we're like 3 months into a song I wrote. And he says, I'm not playing it right. It's the bum, 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 bum. He's like, you're just not getting it. I'm like, how could I not be getting it? I wrote it. He was, you're just not, something missing. So we're trying for it. And I come over again like 4 months and one day I come over and he's just like really mean. And he says, look, I really don't want you coming over anymore. I don't think this is working. I don't really think you have what it takes. I think that you want it and that's good, but it's just not everything's for everybody. So you might want to consider going to college, starting a family, you know, maybe you'd be a good mother. And what you have in your, like, what? That started to happen. My face got hot. My face got hot.
Oh, man.
And I got a lump in my throat and I didn't know if I wanted to cry or break everything in his studio.
Yeah, that's...
And so he goes, I mean... He presses record. He's like, if you want to try one more time, that's fine. And I'll give you the copy of this, but I don't want you coming back after this.
Oh my God.
So I screamed at him with all of the passion and all of the heart and everything in my being. And as I'm screaming at him, and I got a tear in my eye and I'm singing notes I've never hit. And he starts to cry. And at the end, he presses stop. He's like, I'm sorry I had to do that to you, but you weren't going to give me the emotion I needed.
Oh, my God.
And he goes, and that's what I'm talking about. He goes, don't sing me songs about being sad and brokenhearted. Be brokenhearted and sing me a song. And so that was the breakthrough that I learned with Bo. He was the best teacher I ever had.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's next talking point is obviously the Mysti Mayhem trio, but I think before we get into that, let's talk for a couple of minutes here about the blues, because you and I both are from one blues artist to another, you know, and I have the harder rock stuff as well, but it's all blues. So, any thoughts? What do you have anything that you want to expand on personally about the genre that you think people don't really talk about much? Because it's, to me, it's the essence and the roots of, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan talked about how, like, there wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for blues. Pop wouldn't exist, jazz wouldn't exist, rock wouldn't exist.
So that's what I learned in school.
Okay.
That was what I learned in school in our music class, is they taught us that. They were like, so like if we were going to think of a pyramid, blues would be the platform. Yeah.
At least for, you know, American rooted music, but it, right. I mean, it even goes back beyond that. Like, it's just so seminal.
It's primitive. It's storytelling with emotion. So, and it's a commonality. A broken heart is a broken heart. You know what that feels like. I do. They do. Right. Yeah. So it's a connector. And I love the blues because I did not have a happy childhood. My childhood was not Disney. It was more like a Tim Burton film with some good comedy in there, actually. But because of that, I gravitated towards the blues. I was like, oh, this is music that sings about pain. And this person seems to be singing about pain I know. Oh, I feel less alone. Oh, I can sing about my pain. And that's acceptable. Because it doesn't seem to be acceptable too much in other genres.
Right.
And
that's sugar-coated.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean? It's just not...
There's not enough room to be that sad. We're here to have a good time. Play something we can dance to, you know. And I miss hearing the blues. I feel like I heard it a lot more as a kid. I don't know if that was who brought me up. But I strive to definitely keep the blues alive because I think it's a necessary emotion. I think all emotions are necessary. Party songs are needed. All kinds of songs are needed. It's all the vast emotion.
Likewise.
And I think when people are like, oh, I'm just having too much fun to listen to sad stuff like all the time, that's not healthy. There's no way that you're that happy all the time.
Right.
You're lying to yourself. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the blues and the simplicity of it. I grew up, my first CD was Lead Belly.
Okay.
And that was I grew up in a strict house when it came to music. So my mom didn't allow me, she threw away my Ace of Base CDs that she saw me having. And she bought me Lead Belly and Janis Joplin.
That's a good place to start though. I mean, despite, you know.
I forgive her for that.
So, you know, with the blues background, you know, obviously the Bo, that one moment with Bo Diddley, it spawned off a whole new voice, perhaps.
It did.
And it's so prevalent in what you're doing now. And I obviously I've been keeping up with the discography for years, but really today, like prepping for this, I was listening to the trio record and Psychedelic Strawberry Shortcake, which is an EP, I guess, right? Yeah. But the theme is the same, where and it's just such great artistry. It's a testament to who you are: transparency, honesty, soul. And what I love about your lyrics are, is especially the fact that they are just raw. They're not too metaphoric, which, you know, me personally, I've written a fair amount of songs that are fairly metaphoric, but it's just nice to get the message clearly. And it seems like that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm getting when I'm listening to your music. There's no BS. It's just, here's the message, here's what it is, and I'm going to put it in a 4-minute format.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that, and in the things I consume. So when I watch a film, like I'm a big film buff.
Likewise, same.
I just watched the movie Us. So I don't know if you watch horror, but it was a movie that
Is that the Spielberg?
No,
I'm sorry, the
Peele.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And this came after his movie Get Out, and it was a film that, from the score to the dialogue to the screenwriting, you know, it was all good. And I feel like my music should be like a movie. I have 3.5 minutes to 5 minutes. I don't have 60 minutes to 120, but in that amount of time, I need to give you a story. I need to make it so that you can understand the basic of the story, and at the same time, give a little bit of leeway for you to make it what you want it to be at the same time. And I always feel like that's a fine line. And so I appreciate that, man. I try to, because it's connecting. I don't want to waste 3.5 minutes saying just, I don't know, like the metaphor thing, and it's fine and it's cool, but it feels like some art where people are just throwing splotches on a canvas, and people like that, but that's just not me.
Well, you know, and there's only a few that I've and this is me personally, that I've latched onto that can pull it off. Now, lyrically speaking, Anthony Kiedis from the Chili Peppers is one of them, where it's like, and he's one of my big influences. It's like, what is this dude talking about? But somehow he's connecting with, you know, millions of people, and has been for 30 years.
Right.
And then, you know, Jim Morrison was another one where, you know, total poet, but at the same time, everybody knows what he's talking about when he says Soul Kitchen. Now, the Lizard King, I don't know. But, you know, it's like they still had that, like, that rootsy, very blues-oriented band. So they got away with it. Like, he was able to get away with it because they still had Roadhouse Blues. They still had, you know, I mean, Riders on the Storm is really esoteric. Like, I don't even know what that's about. You know what I mean?
I actually just tried learning that one, and I was reading it, and I'm like, what does this mean?
Yeah. And that's cool. Like, that works. But it's nice to know when, you know, an artist can give the message very clearly, but then they leave a little bit of room for the imagination.
Yes,
and it sounds like you have a great mix of that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying.
Well, I'll tell you personally, you do, but it sounds like you are, as you said, like that's part of your formula. And it actually, I just crossed out songwriting process because that was one of the points I wanted to hit. Any more you want to elaborate on that?
I just have a new release called Garden. It was produced by Drugs Beats and Emily Mussolino. So,
cool.
Yeah,
Emily and I go way back as well. I haven't seen her in years.
You can get her on the show.
I think I saw her at the Cave, like year. I mean, this was like when I was still in high school, or like right out of high school. Song in My Soul, I listened to today, and that really made me curious about the songwriting process, because that talks about, I mean, you're talking to your fellow artists out there, and I love it.
Thank you.
And it's direct. Like, those lyrics, let me see. I've got where is this? Just talk about it because I have it written here, but I can't. Actually, I didn't write it down.
Oh, okay.
But the lyrics in the chorus. Expand on that.
I've got a song in my soul. I've been too busy wondering what it sounds like instead of letting go. I'm saying goodbye to my ego so I can write that song from my soul. So that was when I realized that I had not written a song for years, 5 years. And I was coming out of my leg break and where I couldn't walk, and I have the spiritual experience. I'm like, I got to write a song, and I couldn't write. I could not. It wouldn't come. It wouldn't come. And then every day I'm trying. We're trying weeks. I want to. It's like being hungry, but everything I go to eat turns to sand. And so one day I sat down and I was like, I am going to write a song. And I heard this little nasty voice go, why you going to write a song?
Just like that.
No one's going to hear it. Yeah, it was
just
sassy.
like that.
It was sassy and nasty.
It's like a Southern devil.
Well, yeah. It was a sassy Southern devil. Why you going to write a song? Nobody want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Ain't
nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yes. And that's what it was. It was like, nobody's going to listen to it. It's not going to be on the radio. Nobody cares. And I was like, oh, voice. I like what you're saying. And
I love it.
I stole that voice's voice.
I love it.
As my song. And it was like, well, thank you. Now I've written a song.
That is great.
So sometimes you gotta get around.
Now, did you have cello on that?
I did.
Okay. And a little bit of violin, maybe viola or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a cello.
A cello,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Because some of the high end, it sounded like cello's got a wide range to it. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Real quick, Epiphone endorsement, is that still part of...
It's still a thing. I have not asked them for anything in a long time.
Okay.
But if my endorsement can get me some more stuff, maybe somebody could give them a call and hook me up. But yeah, I'm still on the website. I'm still rocking the endorsement that they gave me. It's an Epiphone Masterbuilt, and I love it.
I just believe it or not, I just picked up a Hummingbird Pro cutaway. And I play multiple brands of acoustics. I won't say what they are, but they're just not as comfortable as that.
Right.
And that thing, I think it's like a Les Paul scale. It flies. I don't know if it plays quite as well as my buddies that I tried, where I was like, dude, I have to buy one of these. I may return it and just get another one that just came out a little bit better, but it's phenomenal. I've never played an acoustic it's like that. It's like a nylon almost, but it's not.
Yeah. I feel like the comfort for the hand on the Alvarez, because I don't have big hands. So for the Alvarez guitars and the Epiphone, I really love the neck, but the Epiphone electronics, man. It just, because that was when I was in the office, they were like, you can have any guitar you want. And it was just a giant wall of guitars. It's like, and I can have anyone. And I went to each acoustic one. I just went, boom. And I just went, boom. I tapped on each one. And then I saw it, and it was the only one I really played. I kind of tinkered with others, and I got it. And I was like, I love this one. They're like, well, go ahead and play with the other ones. And I was like, okay. And I played with the other ones. I didn't like it. I was like, I want this one. And they're like, let's try it. Maybe you want to try this one. I was like, okay. I was like, I want this one. They're like, that's the cheap model. That's like the low end model. I was like, but it sounds the best.
But you were attached to it.
I think she picked me.
That's always how it is. That's always how it is.
Yeah.
For sure. So Bo Diddley happens. Still, this is crazy. I love that story. How many months after, walk me through this European tour thing. This is very intriguing.
So I, after I'm 18, I moved to Florida. I go under, Bo Diddley's tutelage. I go out on a self-funded tour. I get myself an RV and head out to LA, and I rub elbows with some stars, and get to hang out in Dave Grohl's studio.
Oh,
that was fun.
I bet.
And so after that, the online campaigning started. So I just discovered MySpace. That's a long time ago, kids. And Tila Tequila was big. So I was like, well, if she's going to get 1,000 followers, so am I. So I started like building my online brand. And there was a website called Celeband. And it was the first of its kind. So we know GoFundMe's and we know all these backing projects that we know now today, but none of that existed then.
Right.
So this was the first one where people, if you liked an artist, you would basically put money into that artist. You're investing in that artist, and you could get CDs back or a portion of CD sales. I can't really remember how they worked it out. And if you raised $50,000, then the record label took you on, and they put you on tour. And I was blessed enough to have a strong campaign, and it took me to Europe. I got to be in Portugal. Got to stay there for a bit, and I performed at the Paradiso in Amsterdam.
Wow.
I really wish I was ready. I have stage fright. And God has totally worked with me on that, but I didn't know God then. And so it was like so super bad. But I loved it. And the experience was phenomenal. I got hit by a moped. So in Amsterdam, I was like, I'm listening to John Butler Trio and just feeling life, you know, and I'm just high on life.
Our
like,
11-string guitar slinger, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And I'm just like listening to my earbuds and I feel something hit my hip. I was like, oh, what was that? That's weird. Well, in Amsterdam, they have moped lanes. You're not supposed to walk in them.
Ooh.
I'm walking in it. And as I'm like, what was that? I look ahead and there are two girls on a moped, like about to go down. And I'm like, oh my God, don't die. Oh my God, don't. And my life flashes before my eyes. And I'm like, what if I go to jail? I can't go to prison because I killed two people with my fat American hips. But they were fine. But so it was all exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, that's any crazy. And the only reason why I bring it up is because, you know, Amsterdam. Oh, everybody's talking about hash and hash bars.
Yeah.
From like a anthropological standpoint, what's the like? It's a cultural thing, from what I've heard. I haven't been there, but you know, you got 15, 16-year-olds.
Yeah,
it's just a thing, you know.
When you go, so it's viewed the same way that a glass of wine or any kind of alcohol would be viewed here.
Okay.
And you go there and they have a menu at these bodegas or wherever I don't know what they would call it over there, but not everybody sells it. But like you go in and they have a menu, and like I remember looking at the menu for marijuana, and it was like 1 to 10. So number 1 was like the lowest grade. Doesn't have too much THC. If you've never smoked, that's what you want to have. And 10 had a skull and crossbones, and they wouldn't sell that to anyone that wasn't from Amsterdam. So that was like medicinal level, high THC content. So right. I was feeling, you know, like adventurous. I said, why don't we try something like between a 5 and a 7? And he says, how about 6? I said, good. And so I remember I took that with me, and like my label mates are getting wasted because beer is much different there. Beer is...
Oh, it's got what, 15%, 20%?
I don't know. It's strong, and I couldn't have it. That's how I had one beer and I was done. So my friends are like going down the red light district and like getting wasted.
Look out.
And I'm walking down the red light district. And I'm like, there's so many pretty ladies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't feel safe. And so I was like, my brain was like, you know what, Misty, you're alone in Europe. You should probably go to your hotel room. So I go to my hotel room and I'm like, you know, I'm in a safe space. I had a full day. It's nighttime. I'm gonna smoke this joint. I rolled a joint, and I'm overlooking the canal, and it's a full moon, and it's just gorgeous outside. And I'm outside on the steps, and I lit it, and I'm like, I've been really nervous at this point because it's not legal in the States, and it's totally legal there, but I'm. You know,
still
and I'm with my record. I have a performance at the Paradiso, and I just don't want everybody to be like, oh, that stoner over there.
Right,
you know?
right.
And so I'm smoking it, and I hear this like alarm, and I'm I'm like, man, am I just so high? It can't be high. I just started smoking it. I feel like I hear an alarm. I set off the smoke alarms.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so not only did I almost kill 2 people on a moped that day with my hips, my fat American hips, but I set off the smoke alarms. So, hi Amsterdam, that was me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So when you were touring over there, was it how long again? How many months?
I went off and on. The first bout that Celeban took me on, I think I was there for a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it, like a show every, what do you think, 5 shows a week?
So I think maybe a label mate had helped me out and I stayed with her. And so it was weird. It was off and on. I didn't keep track. I was having too much fun, but I would say about a show a week.
Oh,
and I got to go to like London.
A lot of downtime.
Yeah.
A lot of downtime.
It was, but I was like taken care of, so I didn't have to spend my own money.
Were you guys doing press on the side?
No.
Wow.
No.
Literally downtime.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to eat snails. That was fun.
How was that?
I loved it. I loved snails. I like snails.
They're salty.
Yeah. I feel like
I've
snails are
told.
sort of like lobster. Everything tastes good with salt and butter.
I gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
No?
I don't know. I mean,
Are you like?
I love sushi, but you know.
Are you an adventurous eater at all?
More so now than I was probably earlier on in life.
Are you more apt? Because this is what they had to do with me is I told them like not to tell me what it is. So if you tell me what it is, it's a game changer. It's done.
Yeah. You know what? That could probably work for me.
Yeah, you should do that next time you go and you trust someone that you're with and they know what's up with the culture.
Right.
Be like, I trust you. And then if you don't like it, you can spit it out. Although that's very, very embarrassing when you do that at a 5-star restaurant. Even
right. Because I've always been like the sushi guy with salmon and crab, tuna. Like I'm fine with that raw. And then we were out with a friend of ours. I don't know, a couple of years ago, and she loves eel, and I was like, all right, okay. I mean, I've already downed salmon and tuna for a couple of years. What the hell's the difference? So I it was good. It was fine.
Was it smoked?
I think so. It tasted. I don't even know what it tasted like. Like if I were to describe it, I don't know how to. Probably have to taste it again because it's been a couple of years, but it was surprisingly tasty,
like almost beefy for a water animal, I would say. Like,
yeah, but it has it's got I don't know if it's salt, but it's just got this natural flavor that's other fish just don't have, or other water life don't have.
Now, would you be really adventurous and go all the way with like the people that eat like the raw octopus with the? No, not your thing.
Have you tried it?
No, I'm not doing it. Yeah, I'm adventurous. I can't. No. I can't do the lot. I don't want it alive in my mouth. You see those YouTube
videos of the guys at the sushi bars in Japan, and as you alluded to. Nah.
I can't. Not if I have a choice. If I have a choice to eat something dead, or that, I would choose dead. I choose dead or salad.
Choose death.
You choose death. Always choose death. Death to self.
So you're. Again, with doing a little bit of homework for this, you're booked out.
Yeah.
Like I was online, and and I'm blessed to say, we're jumping in with a couple of shows ourselves coming up here. I don't know when I'll have this up edited, but hopefully before these shows are out. That's the plan. But you're at Blue Note multiple times this year, Niche multiple times. I saw places, Raleigh, Clayton, kudos.
Thank you.
I mean, you're hustling hard. Does it ever get old, the small venues? Because I've had these conversations with people, and some people love it. Some people just can't. I got to be honest with you. There's nothing like being on a stage with a couple of thousand people. It's just that energy is amazing. But then you walk into a small venue with 50 or 75 folks, and it's just so warm. And there's a lot. What are your thoughts on this?
So So that's
Yeah, Nick that thing real quick again. This is so going back to Amazon. So going back.
You should film this and show the Amazon people. Like, I would show you what we filmed, but I cannot.
I can't.
Because I'm sorry, that made me laugh and I forgot the question.
Venues. Like, so you've got these shows coming up, and a lot of them are more on the, I mean, they're reputable venues, but they're more of the listening room type of environment, which I'm a total fan of. But do they get old? Because, it's just.
So in what I do, this is work. So this is my full-time job. And I would say that the process is old because it's work. So it's like asking like somebody that's worked at their job for 10 years, just going to work, get old. Yes. But,
just hitting print, get old.
Right. Just having to get up early and get dressed. Does that go? Yes.
Does living get old?
Yes, right. And so that being said, I did have a problem with it. I wanted bigger audiences. I craved the $2,000. So I craved the 2,000 people that I had performed for years before when I was not ready. Again. It's like, oh, can I have that again? Because now I'm ready. Now I could do a good job. I couldn't do back then. I really want that. And then God really came into me one day.
But God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I'm like, I want to just play with my mom. Nobody's going to know who I am. And I'm going to be in a dark corner of a bar as a paid karaoke machine, And it hurt. And then during my set, God showed me churches, just visions of churches, like like all around the world. And almost throughout time. And I'm like singing Wagon Wheel and meaning like having like a download. And I'm like, act normal, Misty. Don't forget the words.
Right.
And he showed me all these people, big churches, small churches. And then he said very quietly to me, he said, all of my children are important.
Yeah.
One person in church, they're supposed to be there. 2 people, 2,000. He says, I show up for that one person.
Yeah.
And I will show up for those 2,000. With the same love. And then he said, I expect the same of you.
Oof.
That oof, that's when I was like,
yeah.
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay, I'm grateful. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So that totally now changes my outlook on it. Because I have to deliver, whether it's 1 or 1,000. And it's funny because Bo Diddley said that to me.
Yeah.
But I didn't believe him when he said it. He was like, when you see the hardest guy in a room, you got to make him dance because he counts too. I was like, yeah, never.
It's a challenge, you know what I mean? And and I think about it now because you just stemmed a whole plethora of flashbacks from the shows that I've done, and it's just like. Some of the best ones were the most random, the most I don't want to say unhinged, but just the ones that were unexpectedly good. Like the 7 people that were there after hours. Or you take somebody else's guitar and it's just like the spontaneity of it and you just kind of sit in and jam or or whatever. It's just raining hard, not a lot of people are there, and it's like that vibe. It's just to say it's more intimate, yeah, of course. It's cliche to say that, but something to be said about it.
It almost feels in those settings as though God really orchestrated who he wanted in that room that night.
Divine appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so who am I to complain, Gosh, I'm just happy to be here.
Now to not shift gears, I do want to talk about, you knew I wasn't going to let this slide. Get in touch with the Giggle. Funny music video. I always get a kick out of those where you have a female voice and there's males lip syncing or vice versa.
Yeah.
I thought it was really clever. 2 things on that. So origination of the song, because we'll get into some other things as we kind of start wrapping up here. But I have starred and in orange highlighter the word depression. So because I know, and listen, you and I both even just talking earlier, I think we've both been into some similar ruts, and a lot of artists have. It's just, it comes with the territory. What is your story with it? Because it's in your bio.
I grew up in a really broken house. There was a lot of pain and abuse. And my father died when it was on my birthday.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if he died on my birthday, but I found out on my birthday, and him and my mother had divorced. And so, I think it was 10. And then my mom became terminally ill when I was also 10. So then I became her caregiver.
At 10?
Yeah. So I was officially a latchkey kid. I had a stepdad, but he was working. And then my job was to come home from school, help take care of my mother with hospice nurses. And it was a really hard life. And then again, like a house that didn't have any spiritual knowledge. I didn't know. I mean, I knew there was a word named God, and people who believed in God were crazy. That's all I knew as a kid. And I was like, okay. So when I was 14, I had made the decision. I found out that we could kill ourselves as humans. It dawned on me. I don't know how I found this out. And so I just said, oh, well, I'll just do that. That's a fix. That's easy.
Solves every problem.
Solves every problem. And I didn't tell anyone. I cried all day in school.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. Because I knew.
When you were planning it, or thinking about it.
I planned it in the night before, when it dawned on me I could do it. I'd already decided the next day. So I'm already at school. It kind of all happened at once. So I just cried at school, just basically like, well, this is my last day at school. And I didn't tell anyone. And and I was always like the light of the room. I was always like really happy, and you would never know anything was wrong. And so I slit my wrists. I waited until my parents went to sleep, and I cut my wrists, and it was pouring down rain, and it was like 1 a.m, and I'm just crying, and like, this is it. And I'm just bleeding out. And you gotta understand, at this point I live in the woods of the Poconos, which means my nearest neighbor is like a mile away, and anybody that knows me is at least 5 miles away.
Jeez.
So it's not like you can just walk to a friend's house. So it's 1 a.m. on a school night, and there's a knock at my door. I'm like, fuck. They're gonna wake up my parents, right? And I can't have my parents wake up, because then my whole plan is foiled. And so I put my arms behind my back, and I open the door, and it was this boy from school, and I had such a crush on him, and I'll never forget his name.
1 a.m.?
1 a.m. His name was Kyle Homer. I thought he was the cutest boy in the whole wide world. And I'm like, what are you doing in my house? He goes, I had a bad feeling. What are you doing? And he pushes open the door, grabs my hands. He goes, what have you done? And
oh my God.
He wakes up my parents. They bring me to the hospital, and I stayed there for a month. And I still, to this day, think that is really freaky, because we weren't close friends. He was just the boy I had a crush on at school. So that's when I found out I had depression. And
wow. I mean, what do you say to that? I
yeah, God is good.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I'm really blessed. And so through that journey, I found out how to work with my depression and what triggers it. I'm basically like a plant. I need sunshine a lot, every day.
Yeah.
And I used to be a shut-in, and the sun, only out at night. I'm a musician. But now I have to take my vitamins and be in the sun. And so it's quite a journey. And I'm lucky in a way that I got it when I was young, because I've had this amount of time to deal with it. And when I was young also, I didn't have time to break down. So you're an adult. You have the choice not to go to your job. You have the choice to not pay your bills. You have choices. I had no choices as a kid.
Yeah.
There was no room for me to fall apart or have a drug addiction. I had to go to school, And so...
it's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I could go down that. That's really interesting to think about, because I've seen that with myself. That, and when I was younger, I always looked forward to getting older because it just seemed like there were more freedoms. I mean, obviously now here we are, and it's like, okay, it's a whole other set of problems.
You're free to pay your bills.
Yeah, that's right. But it's like, that's a really interesting point. Really interesting point. So wrapping, because I brought it up earlier, getting in touch with the Giggle. I mean, it's kind of the antithesis of what we've been talking about, but I don't think the song would have ever been written if it wasn't for those moments. And I mean, that's like, I've heard a lot of crazy stories, and I went through similar stuff myself in my later teen years. It's part of my testimony, but that's just nuts.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is crazy. And so, so the depression is why that song got written. I had gotten a really good job doing wardrobe for any acts that came into Red Hat, PNC, and Walnut Creek.
Wow. And
so, I was doing wardrobe for, Janet Jackson and Miley Cyrus and just whoever had a show, I did wardrobe. And while I'm like getting my paycheck from my boss, I'm like really weighed down with this depression, and it has purpose. I'm not able to get over my past. I'm bitter about certain things. I don't know Jesus yet, but I'm learning about God, but just really, really tortured in here. And my boss said, she wrote me my check. She goes, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I don't know, man." And she said, "You need to get in touch with your Giggle. Have a good day." I was like, what? What does that mean? And so I went home. I'm driving home. Get in touch with my Giggle. Get in touch with the Giggle. What does that mean? And what does it mean? Like Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. What does it mean? And I go home and I wrote about it. I was like, well, if I don't know what it means, maybe I'll write about what I think it means. And so I wrote about basically taking her advice and assuming what she meant with it, which is, get in touch with the Giggle. Every day, just laugh at yourself, though it may be raining down clouds and thunder. I wouldn't want you as no one else. And it just goes on to say, nothing's perfect, but got to do the work from the inside out.
Yeah. Now, I have guitar solo ? There is a solo on that track, right?
There's bad solo, yeah.
Did you play that?
No, that was not me. That was two people. That was a combination of RJ Finch, a local Durham artist, and Emily Mussolino from Durham.
Yeah, no, it was... it stood out to... I mean, the whole song's great, but that stood out to me because it's just good solo. It's good soul work.
Yeah. There's just there was a lot of joy that happened that day. So it just happened, when you're in the studio and everyone's generating the same positive energy, that was the Holy Spirit.
There you go.
Making that solo.
For sure. So I guess we'll move into our little shootout here. First, I do want to say, and we'll bring this up later, congrats for the nomination for Rock Female Carolina Music Awards 2019. We will put in the description box below the linkage to vote. You've been nominated multiple times, I believe. No. If I read correctly. No, I have. Oh, this is the first nomination.
Yeah, I've never been nominated. Not that I know of. Okay. If I have been, I wasn't aware of it.
Okay.
Although I will say, nobody told me I was nominated. I sort of found out because I'm just such a curmudgeon. And I went to I saw the nominees are up this year. And I was like, well, let me just see where my name's not at because I never get nominated for anything. And I was like, oh, that's my friend. Oh, that's my friend. Oh, that's my name. Wait, what?
Ooh.
That's my name? And I sat there and I was like, I'm just such a jerk. I was
I'll tell you, have you been to one yet?
No.
They are phenomenally ran. Very, very fun group of people, but obviously serious. A lot of great talent. I'm good friends with, have become good friends with over the years. Omar and Edwin Mitchell. They run a really tight ship there. Do a phenomenal job with it.
Nice.
Definitely try and make it out to that as well as you guys.
I got my tickets, honey.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
And you've got my vote.
All right.
Go vote for this woman. Let's get her a Carolina Music Award. It's a great time. It's a great time. I've been probably at least 5 or 6 times.
That's awesome.
In the last, however many years. So
yeah, I was really surprised at how many people I knew that were nominated. I was like, I know all these people. Well, like, not all of them, but it felt really good to be a part of really talented folk. To be a part of it felt good.
Yeah.
So I already feel like I won for that reason. Have you seen the new Avengers Endgame?
No, of course not. For 2 reasons. Number one, it's not. Somebody's gonna give me crap for this online.
Oh yeah,
it's not really my thing. Like I'm more of nonfiction type of film and like just art in general.
Yeah.
But number 2, because it's not my thing, I just didn't really bother to go. I guess it's the same thing. But.
I understand. Then I'm going to spoil it for you.
Okay.
So in the film, there's this part where Thor, he has his Mjolnir, right? His hammer. And he doesn't feel worthy in life anymore. He doesn't feel needed. He doesn't feel wanted. Nobody needs his superpowers. His job is done. He can just go die away from everyone. He's really like lost his purpose. And at one point he speaks to his mother and she instills upon him like that he does have purpose and he is loved. And like he's crying and like he closes his eyes and he puts out his arm just in the hopes that his Mjolnir might come back. And it does. And he goes, I'm still worthy. I'm still worthy. And that's how I felt when I was nominated.
Oh, you're totally worthy.
Aww.
I think it's going to be your year. We got to get you one of these.
Okay.
We got to get you one of these.
All right. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean we're going to be pushing that voting for sure. All right, so shootout. Let's hit this real quick.
All right.
I'm excited. And I kind of gave you a little bit of an idea of what's going to go on here, but element of surprise. And so this is cool because you have some background in studio work with Bo Diddley. Vocal mic ? Favorite vocal mic or just vocal mic? What is your go-to vocal?
For my own shows, I love the Onyx. I have an Onyx mic, and then in studio, if anybody ever has a new Hauser, I would love to sing into one of those.
So the Onyx thing is really interesting because and we'll walk in there in a second when we're done. My whole drum set, close mic'd, is Onyx, except for a 57 on the top of the snare.
Nice.
Everything else out in the room is like AKG and MXR and all that.
I never hear anyone use Onyx. I'm like, I use Onyx, and they're like, oh. I'm like...
I had them. I sold them to buy other gear a few years back. Had to get them again because I needed to record real drums again and not do because I was doing like triggers and stuff for other projects. And
sound great.
They sound incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm not endorsement baiting, but I gotta say, man, whenever I'm right there with you with Onyx.
Onyx, call us.
Guitar tuning.
I like to go down a half step for standard tuning. And
you and I both.
I don't know why. It's better for me. But then if I'm just going to jam, D open tuning is my favorite. Just fiddle and have fun. D, F sharp, A, D.
Cool. Yeah. Type of pick.
Anything with a grip, preferably nylon, medium to hard.
I mean, I have to have a grip as well. And it
flies out of my hands if I don't have one.
I think I use Dunlop 1.5 millimeter. Mm-hmm. Now, I used to use like medium for years. They always broke. They never, and And you get a lot more volume, obviously, out of a really thick one. But, yeah.
I feel like the light ones, I'm playing with air. It's just going flink.
And a lot of high end, which is cool, I guess, if you want to use it as like a technique in the studio. But
yeah, no, after Bo Diddley got his hands on me with playing music, I have to
changed.
chunk.
Yeah.
Everything changed. You can't, who can play with a light pick? It's not happening. Light picks if a lightweights, eh? Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
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 What do you like? Well, you were drinking. What was that over there? The
oh, that's shameful. I shouldn't be drinking that. But what I drink at home is really it's just vanilla coffee. If it's strong coffee, I drink it. I have a little grinder. I grind my beans at home. I try not to put sugar in it, but I fail. That's about it.
I do Dunkin'. No, wait. I'm lying. Starbucks. Pike's Place. You ever had that? It's pretty good. It's like just a nice, like, middle of the road type of.
If I'm gonna get crazy, I'll get a caramel macchiato from Starbucks.
That's rich.
Yeah.
That's just too much.
Yeah. I regret it every time. I'm like, I will die of diabetes. It's so good. Yeah.
Favorite record?
Oof.
And maybe like least favorite record. I don't know, but.
So I just listened to actual records for the first time in the last year.
Vinyl
Records.
That's a whole other hour worth of discussion.
And I will say that now on a vinyl, can definitely say that I don't know the name of it because I'm new to the world of vinyl, but Jimi Hendrix.
Oh,
the one where Voodoo Child is on that record.
Is that I might have to Google that real quick. I think that's Electric Ladyland.
Maybe.
Are you experienced? I gotta Google that.
I don't know now, but that whole album sounded amazing. And in terms of just something that I really connect to, something I would YouTube any time of the day, there's two bands, Run the Jewels and Ani DeFranco. So those are definitely my go-tos. I can listen to Ani DeFranco all the time. She's probably the reason I am the artist that I am today. So yeah, I don't know if I could give a favorite record though, man.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That's why I asked it.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of songs than I am of whole records.
There's two versions from what I can. Somebody's gonna dip me online because I know I'm getting this wrong, and I'm a big Hendrix fan, so I apologize to everybody out there. I'm seeing there's two different versions. There's the
Foxy Lady is on this one.
Foxy Lady's on that record. Mm-hmm. All right, let me try that. I can't believe I don't remember this. All right,
I want to venture to say it's the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Maybe.
I think that might be it. Foxy Lady record. This is terrible. I never thought I'd be doing this. No, not cheer. I don't want the cheer. What?
This is so shameful. I swear we're
This
musicians.
is sacrilegious. Foxy Lady. 1967. Oh, guess what? This is hilarious. Manic Depression was the B-side of that Foxy Lady single. So, Are You Experienced? 1967, the original. So I guess Voodoo Child was on the original.
Okay, there it is.
I have to double check. The link's right here.
There's some Jimi Hendrix intense fan that does have the answers to these questions, and they will let us know in these comments. I'm hoping. I will be checking back for that.
I don't see Voodoo Child on Are You Experienced?
Maybe my brain doesn't like
this.
Life.
Is strange.
Well, didn't Voodoo Child also have a different name? Like there's another name for...
Yeah. Let me see here. Hold on. This
all
is
my
stupid.
hippie friends and everyone that raised me is just...
Yeah, I have people cringing right now somewhere. All right.
I'm sorry.
We have to get this right, and then we're going to move on. Slight Return.
That was the title.
I had it right. Electric Ladyland.
Okay.
Final track.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. That's a great album.
So I guess I did make that work.
Yay.
Great album. Well, all this stuff is fantastic. There's a live version with him, and it's actually with Buddy Miles on drums. Like it was after Mitch Mitchell. Like, I don't know if he left or whatever happened, but fantastic live version. And there's like Hammond organ too. Really good.
Okay, I got one more actually. One more album that is amazing that I will actually listen to the whole album. And it just came to me. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Oh boy. Oh baby.
Can't remember the album name, but Woodstock is on it. And that whole album is...
They played Woodstock, right? Yeah. There's so many people that played it. It's like I wasn't even a thought then either, so...
Yeah, there's a lot that happened there. Yeah.
I've got a neighbor who was... actually, a friend of mine, his dad was there apparently at like 12 months old or whatever, 10 months old. It's like, okay, man, cool.
Did you ever check out Watt Stacks?
Nah.
So it was basically like another Woodstock, but it was held having a lot to do with the riots and was all black lineup. Amazing.
Really?
So they had
is it on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's just incredible.
I'll have to check that out.
Please do.
That's
You'll
cool.
enjoy it.
Most embarrassing thing that's happened to you?
Oh, there's like such a long list.
It's a little curveball in there.
Yeah, there's too much. That's what happened. It's when someone says, "Do you know a song?" and I know 5 million, so now I can't think of one.
Right.
Being hit by 2 girls on a moped is pretty embarrassing.
Great.
That sucked. Let's see. I mean, the only thing that pops out right now was I was in high school, and it was the first time I was playing an electric guitar. And we were part of a production, and they let me like play the electric guitar, and it was just so exciting. And I thought, this is gonna be my first big break with the electric guitar, and we're playing closing time, time for you to go home. So whatever, playing it. I'm so nervous that after the song, everyone's supposed to just get off and walk off. So I did, and I hear. Gong, gong,
yes.
gong, gong, wah, 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 wah. I'm like, what is all that noise? Wonder what's going on back there. And the audience is cracking up. And I realize that there's an amp that I've drug across the floor before my guitar popped out. And that was awful. Yeah, I remember that clearly. So you're supposed to unplug your guitar before you walk off stage, kids.
You want to talk about a segue? The next question. Amplifier of choice.
One that can drag across the stage, apparently. I play the acoustic and I go directly in. And so I'll use pedals, but I don't use an amp anymore. Back in my day, I used to use...
Do you play electric too?
Not really, no. No, I'm just acoustic electric. I like the feeling of the vibration. I feel connected to the instrument more. I don't feel a vibration at all through the electric.
Okay.
And but back in my day, I had a Yorkville acoustic amp, and that thing sounded amazing.
Interesting.
And then I would patch it through. This was like my gear that I would schlep to do like busking on the streets or play out in front of Curb Records to try and get a record deal. Not a very bright 20-year-old, but I had heart. And and so I had a little cube amp.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of distortion out of that. So I'd get distortion out of the cube, but then the pure acoustic sound. And man, I was rocking like John Butler Trio, man. Let me just tell you what, John Butler Trio, you would have wanted me to open for you.
So to wrap it up, a little bit of a serious note, maybe a comedic. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. What would you tell your 15-year-old self?
Don't kill yourself. You know what's sad? There's nothing I could have told me that wasn't already told to me. Everything I would have told me, was told to me. I just didn't believe it, and that would be, it gets better.
Yeah.
And I would have added, don't bring harm to yourself when you are so sad. That will hurt you later on in life. Don't bring more damage to the damage done to you. So when you feel bad and you want to bring self-inflicting harm or self-destruction, try not to. Because then the part that hurt for me on that was that hurting myself when I was in pain to try to make myself feel better hurt me for when I was healthy and happy later on in life.
I have a really crazy, and we'll kind of close on this. I don't know if this is this is just me with personal experience. Is it an artist thing to kind of want to go through something? Because did you experience that when you were younger? Because that was like a thing that I had when I was younger. And I look back on my life and it's very strange how things kind of panned out, because I went through some really just like, I don't even know how to explain the off the wall occurrences that I experienced. But for some reason I almost knew it was coming. So
I think so. We see the examples set before us. And for me, I had Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison. I loved Amy Winehouse.
I see a trend here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of my heroes happen to be very self-destructive and didn't live long.
Right.
And so somewhere in me, I got it in my heart that I'm supposed to be Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And you can't really write if you don't got pain. You need a story, kid, And so I'm out. What's my story? What's my downfall? What's my,
We're somewhere out in Barstool.
Yes.
Edge of the desert.
And
the drugs began to take hold.
Yes. And so, like, when I graduated high school, I didn't touch a drug. But then, like, after that, I was like, well, now I'm 18, so I can do drugs. And so I really searched for it. And then I think I was in my early 20s, probably turning blue, passing out from doing whippets.
Woo!
And
wow.
One of my friends said, this isn't cute anymore. And your infatuation with death is just going to kill you. Like, that doesn't make you a better artist. You don't need to suffer to be a good artist.
Right.
Haven't you suffered enough? And I was like, no. And so I think it is. And there also might be like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Are we born artists and then we're more susceptible to the pain of the world so that we can write about it and bring healing? Or are we sensitive to that healing and the only way out of it is by becoming an artist so we can deal with it?
It's an environmental thing, perhaps. Yeah.
Right. So
it might be an amalgam of both. Me personally, I think, actually, no, I think it is both, because I think some people are just wired and predestined for what we do.
Yeah.
Like, I knew what I wanted to do when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Me too, brother. Yeah, Braham.
No doubt about it. Like, I mean, it's actually strange to think about.
Did you choose it or did it choose you?
I was just thinking about this today. It's like the thug life. Like, I didn't choose the thug life. The thug life chose me. Well, it's the same thing with like this.
That's right. That's right.
The ultimate thug life. The life of an artist.
That's right. You're a lifer, man. There ain't no getting out of this.
No, there's no way. No way. When you get bit by the bug, no way.
Nope. You just want to have all the bugs.
This has been incredible. Thanks so much for coming out.
Thanks for having me, man.
We're gonna go out here with just some social media info. Again, description box. Check it out for all the linkage. MystiMayhem.com. A lot of shows. I mean, again, you're booked out until December 2019.
Yes.
6 months out. And I mean, literally like 3-4 shows a week. So people are definitely going to be able to come out to that. We've got a couple of shows coming up. I'll put those links in there as well. Hopefully this is out by then. Vote for your next rock female artist with the Carolina Music Awards.
Yes.
Make sure to do that. And I think that's it. And I think we're done here.
Awesome,
Do you have any
man.
last words?
Love and light.
I love it. I'd give you a hug, but we have this like
From afar.
yeah, I got to try and get a smaller table in here, especially with that. Once I send that camera back.
We could play
get
really
another
good
one.
football, though, if we have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Maybe
I love
that's what
it.
this is for.
I love
Maybe
it.
you should be doing the football game while you interview people.
Have we come up with a name yet for this? Because I still don't know what I'm going to call this. We'll have to text about it later.
We will have to text about it.
I mean, it'll be, the Mysti Mayhem interview, but I need, some sort of name for this vlog. Podcast.
I can't think of anything. You should have like an open, like this should just be like the test show and then have your audience like chime in the comments. What should be the name of this, you guys?
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. I think
And
we're going
then
to do that.
hopefully someone will come up with something.
Something,
Because I'm
yeah.
empty right now. I would just call it Tell Me Everything About Yourself Podcasts. That's all I can think of.
I love it.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Nice hanging
And-
with you, man.
I'm just glad we reconnected because this has been literal. You said 10 years.
Yeah.
And when I was 15, 10
Yes.
years ago. So
You were young.
yeah.
I remember, man, I had just moved here and I was playing and I was like, this kid's got something, And and now we're like fast forwarding time travel to like now. So it's incredible for me.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I love it, man. You're doing great.
Well, I appreciate it. And,
Yeah.
and so are you. And just so excited for what God's got in store.
Amen. Likewise. Cool.
We're out. Thanks for watching. Go to the description box below for all the links. We'll see you on the next one.